This podcast is not intended to provide nor replace medical advice from a qualified medical professional. Tom had recently begun meditation. It wasn't anything fancy, but Tom was feeling better than ever. He felt focused and ready to attack each day. He felt calm and able to handle any mental challenge presented to him. So when he stood over the golf ball and thoughts began racing through his mind, it wasn't too far-fetched for him to say to himself, "This is nothing. You have control over your mind now." Tom took a deep breath and tried to remember the techniques he had been practicing. He envisioned a wave of relaxing light descending over his body and tried to let everything but the ball fade into a blur. For a moment it worked. His shoulders sank a bit, and he began to see just the ball before him. What Tom couldn't realize was how little control he actually had over everything. Despite his best effort, the damage was already done. Tom was out of rhythm, and when he started his swing, he finally realized it. His whole body felt like something had replaced his blood with lead, and he had to force every movement just to get through the swing. It would be no surprise that Tom shanked the shot into the water on his right. Tom had not realized that rhythm is an integral part of the mental game of golf, and should be respected with equal importance to any other aspect of the game. In this episode, we'll uncover the value of keeping the rhythm of our golf game consistent, why stepping away from the golf ball is the best method for it, and actively engage with stepping away from the golf ball to build awareness and understanding of our own personal golfing rhythm. My name is Patrick, and this is The Mind Game. Standing over the ball too long is the precursor to certain disaster. It gives our mind too much time to consider the situation it is faced with, and disrupts our natural rhythm. Our mind becomes restless, and the thoughts begin to flitter about like an overexcited monkey in a small room. Am I too close to the ball? Too far? Are my hands in the right position? I should shift my shoulders a little left. My weight is too far on my trail foot. It is my experience that those intrusive thoughts don't end when we start the swing, and they often get louder and more aggressive. This always translates to a terrible shot. Not a poor one, but a terrible one. Even worse is how we feel in response to our short-sightedness. We always feel like we have made a mistake by not backing away from the ball. Backing away from the ball and restarting our pre-shot routine is the only way to combat this situation. Our problem is that few of us know when we have crossed that threshold, when we're too far out of our rhythm to recover without backing away. This is often because we have become distracted by our thoughts. Other times, we notice we have been standing over the ball too long, but decide not to step away because our ego gets in the way, or we're afraid of taking too long. The truth of the matter, of course, is that the amount of time we take on the second shot will always be longer than the few seconds it would take us to back off and reset. Generally because the shot is so terrible that we're either re-teeing, dropping, or hitting our second shot about 30 yards from the tee box. There are also times when we are distracted before we even approach the ball. Maybe something has pulled our attention away while we are considering the type of shot we want to hit. Or maybe we have recently changed a piece of our swing and aren't quite comfortable yet. In this case, we approach the ball uncomfortable, uncommitted, and with our brain in the improper state to hit it. The mind is a curious thing. The pace we walk, how we breathe, and the beating of our heart are all controlled by our minds. And at the very same time, our mind is affected by the situation it is in, and the influence is over it. While all this is going on, we have thoughts that both feel completely within our control and others that feel like they are coming from someone else. Our mind can be both completely out of control and totally in control, and is fully capable of noticing all of this all at the same time. It is rhythm, repetition, and process that helps us rein in the excited mind and generate the appropriate mental state to perform at our best. Our mind exists in particular rhythmic or brainwave states. Brain science has broken these states into 4 categories. Delta is considered to exist when we are asleep. Theta when we are in a state of deep relaxation. Alpha when we are relaxed yet focused. And beta when we are aroused and excited. In beta, our brains are quite active. This is when we are calculating and considering and deciding. While standing over the ball, it is the beta state that causes our minds to race out of control and contributes to both our poor decision to move forward with the shot and the intrusive thoughts that produce the terrible result. On the other hand, alpha brainwave states are where we find the state of mind that is often considered the zone or flow. An interesting fact of being in flow is that while we feel calm and often disconnected from normal reality, our minds are quite active. The benefit is that the parts of our mind that are active are the perfect parts to execute our golf games to the best of our abilities. Of note is that within each brainwave category is a range of frequencies. That means that the intensity we feel in any state will certainly fluctuate and has the potential to be more or less intense on every shot. It also means that when we are teetering on the edge of 2 states, we can move between them easily. Lastly, because our brainwaves exist on, a wave, simply increasing or decreasing the amplitude of that wave changes our mental state. The bottom line is simple. The alpha brainwave state is the optimal state to be in while we are hitting the golf ball. The longer we stand over the ball, the more likely we are to shift from an alpha to a beta brainwave state, where our mind will begin to wander and shift us out of our natural shot rhythm. We also have the opportunity to approach the ball in a beta brainwave state if we are unfocused or uncommitted. Our activity today is fairly straightforward. It is meant to be done on the driving range and is simply a routine of setting up to the ball and then stepping away at certain points in time. To start, set up to the ball and just stand there until it begins to feel uncomfortable. It could be that your mind begins to wander, or your muscles begin to protest. Either way, when you become uncomfortable, step away from the ball and start your pre-shot routine again. Finish with hitting the ball. Do this 5 times. Next, set up to the ball and count to 15. Remain over the ball for the full count. Regardless of how uncomfortable you feel, complete the shot without stepping away from the ball. On your next shot, set up to the ball, count to 15, and then step away from the ball. Finish by doing your pre-shot routine and hitting the ball. Do at least 3 repetitions of this pair. Continue this routine with counts of 10, and then 5. When you have completed the set of activities, you should have a good idea of a few key factors in your timing and rhythm. First, you should have a good understanding of how long you can stand over the ball before the intrusive thoughts affect your shot. You should also have a good feeling of the relationship of your mind to the intrusive thoughts, so that you are better able to recognize when you should step away from the ball. You should also have a new respect for just how important it is to step away. Lastly, this new information can be used to help you optimize the timing and rhythm of your pre-shot routine. Timing and rhythm is one of the most important aspects of the mental game. Staying in a natural rhythm helps us establish and maintain the appropriate brainwave state to ensure optimal performance. Stepping away from the ball when we have stood over the ball too long is a requirement for reestablishing our natural rhythm and preventing terrible shots due to a wandering mind. Knowing when to step away is key to this process. When you've stood over the ball too long, or approached the ball in a poor state of mind, stop yourself from swinging the club and back away slowly. Thank you so much for listening to The Mind Game. As always, fix your divots, repair your ball marks, and enjoy yourselves out there.